In this class, we are going to create a program which will help us understand, and I'll be able to demonstrate the concept of a fragment in Android. Okay, so just before I begin the program, let me just give you an overview and what I am going to achieve in this program. Only that I will tell, and then directly I'll start the program. Number one, what is a fragment? A fragment is an individual component which is not capable to run on its own. Rather, it holds one single child view, and it always runs inside one activity. Okay, it runs inside some other activity. So activity is a bigger picture here. Okay, and what is a fragment? A fragment is like a small child. Okay, so one activity can have many fragments, and the same fragment can be reused in multiple activities. This is what I discussed in the last class. I've given a little bit more explanation in the previous video. It's a small 15 minutes, 20 minutes video. Please do go through that. Okay, so that you'll have a clear picture of what is a fragment, and then we'll begin. So today's program, what am I trying to explain? I think in the record I've told to create a simple calculator using fragments. Okay, so this is not the program. In the lab record, some of you have misunderstood. In the beginning class, I did a simple calculator with just adding, subtracting, and all those things with some label. Okay, that was different. That is not the program. It's not a lab record program. This, what I'm doing today, is the lab record program. And here I am not focused on the calculator part of the program, rather how fragments work. The entire concept of fragments is what I'm looking for in demonstrating in this particular program. Okay, calculation, I think everybody knows a plus b, a minus b, a into b, a divided by b. The same thing I'm going to do here, but not in the same activity. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is, I'll tell it in simple words, guys. Number one, take two numbers from the user. Okay, and I'm going to put 4 buttons. Okay, first button, when you click on, I'm going to take these two numbers and give it to a fragment. A fragment will add and display the result in that fragment, but I will show it in the activity. Okay, similarly, if you press on subtract, I'll take these two numbers, give it to the fragment. Fragment will subtract and display it in the fragment, but I'll show it in the activity. Alright, so each fragment will be for a particular action. Like for example, one fragment will be for addition, one fragment for subtraction, one fragment for multiplication, one fragment for division. Okay, so all I'm going to do in the activity is take input from the user. That's all. But when you click on add button, I'll call the add fragment, subtract fragment, like that. Okay, since lack of time, I'll not be doing all the 4 fragments. I'll be doing one fragment, and if time permits, the second fragment also. All are same routine. Okay, just to get you used to this, I'm doing 4 times. Okay, it doesn't matter what operation we do, I'm only focused on the concept of a fragment here. Okay, with that in mind, let me go to the design. Let me quickly do the design. Okay, let me just tell you what is the design in overview, and then we will do it here. Number one, I want one text box here, or sorry, a text view, which will tell the title of my program. Then I want 2 text boxes. Then I want 4 buttons. Then I want 4 frames. Okay, in the last part of yesterday's class, I told about frame layout. If you remember, that small colored boxes what we had, those are frame layouts. So I'm going to keep 4 frames here. Each frame is going to hold one fragment. Please note the words what I'm using. In the activity, I can't drag and drop a fragment, but I can drag and drop a frame. Okay, and programmatically, I will load a fragment in the place of the frame layout. Okay, once I finish it, you will understand it, but I'm just telling it theoretically right now. So first, one label, 2 text boxes, 4 buttons, 4 frames. That's all is the design. Let me quickly do that design now. Let me first change this constraint layout to a linear layout. Okay, so first let me change it into a linear layout, and I'll change the linear layout to vertical. Okay, so first label is already there. I'll replace the word hello world to something else. Okay, so that will be the label of my program. Second thing, I thought normally we would be using text box, isn't it? So I thought today I'll introduce one more type of text box which is there in that list, but it is towards the bottom. You see there is one more called text input layout. Okay, in order to demonstrate the difference between these two, one text box I'll use the normal text box, plain text. Okay, another text box I'll use this last one which you see here. Okay, it's called text input layout. Okay, just a small difference between them. Number one, this is a regular or a core component of Android. What you see here is a material design text box. Okay, I'll show the difference when the program runs, but I'll just put it here. Okay, both are text boxes, guys. I'll just show you the difference by running it quickly. Okay, so here you have The first one is the name. Okay, so let me just click on it and go to its attributes. I'll just remove the text there and I'll put a placeholder. Okay, in other words, hint. I'll just say enter first number. Okay, and second one, which you see, this is the text input layout, which has one layout inside which there is a text box. Okay, please note both are not the same. This is an edit text, direct edit text, but this is not a direct edit text. It is a text input layout. Inside that there is an edit text. Okay, so I'm going to click on that hint and I'm going to remove that hint and put enter second number. Okay, that's all I've done. Let me just run this. I'll show you. I'm just running this just to show you the difference between this type of a normal text box, which is on the top, and the last one. What you see there is input text input layout. In order to keep it simple, just see that when you are putting this kind of a text box, it's always recommended that you put a label also. Okay, because when you start typing here, you will this hint will go away. Hint in the sense the placeholder. Okay, the placeholder will go away. So while I'm typing, if I have forgotten what I'm supposed to type in that text box, I have to clear everything to see what I'm supposed to type. So that is why designers normally tell you to keep a label before the text box. See, in this case, it's very simple. First number, second number. So it's not like you will forget. But imagine if it is a registration form in which you have 3 or 4 fields they're asking. They're asking your phone number, your email address, your contact, your personal email address and your official email. Like that, they're asking a lot of fields. Okay, so while you're in one field, imagine that the placeholder is gone, and when you started typing, you remembered it, but while typing, you forgot what you were typing about. You will not be able to see what control or what was that. So you have to delete everything to see what is the placeholder to understand what that text box holds. But there is a difference in the second text box. What you see here, it is covered inside a layout. Okay, and it has a hint. Okay, let me just show you that. Okay, so once the program runs, I'll show you the difference between using a normal edit text and a text input layout. Okay, I would recommend you to use the last one if you have understood what I'm doing in this class. Okay, but the first one is also perfectly fine. It's not a big difference, but I'm just showing you that there is 2 different types of text boxes available in Android Studio. What if I wanted to create my own design of a text input layout? Yes, you can do it on your own. You just need to apply a style. Okay, you can give a style to this particular control. You can see that here, but you'll have to write XML for that. Okay, you have to write a specific XML of how your text boxes should look like, then link it here in this design. That's all. Okay, so I think it's taking time. In the meantime, let me just also do something else. Okay, so once this text box is done, I want 4 buttons, one after the other. So that is not possible in a vertical linear layout. So I will put I will nest my controls into a horizontal linear layout. Okay, I'll put one linear layout inside this main linear layout, and then I'm going to put 4 buttons. So let me just put 1. Please note where the buttons go inside. It should be inside my this linear layout. Okay, be very careful of where you put the button. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, before that, let me just show you the program is running. Yes. Okay. I hope you can see the I've not given any margin, and also it's coming very close to each other, but I hope you are able to see this, right? So this is the first regular text box. So enter first number, it is asking. Now I'm entering some number there. Okay, nothing happens, but the hint went away. When I say hint, the placeholder went away. So now when I'm typing, I'm not sure which number I'm entering here. Okay, because the label has gone. So if I want to know what I'm typing, I have to clear this, and I'll see that enters first number is coming. The second text box, what I've put here, is not a regular text box, rather it is a text input layout. Okay, so let's see how that behaves. I'm going to click on it. You see what happened? I hope you're able to see, right? Enter second number, just from placeholder, from being a placeholder, it went to, see, it looks like a placeholder now, but when I click into it, it went like a label on top. Okay, now I'm able to enter next one. I hope you are following what is happening. Okay, this is a normal text box where I'm entering some number, and you see where is the label? The label went away, or what do you call as the placeholder went away. But when it comes to the second, the text input type layout, you see that the label stays there. Okay, it just jumps above. Okay, so this is a regular text. I think you would have seen these kind of text boxes a lot in your current apps. Okay, so I would prefer you use this if you have understood what is this concept. Okay, this looks like a regular text box, so I'll not use that. Okay, so I hope you have understood what I'm trying to say. Let me, with that idea, let's go back to the design. I will remove this also, this regular edit text, and I'll put a text input layout inside this. Yes. Okay, so first of all, let me fix all the issues. Number one, this linear layout is taking the entire screen, and this linear layout right now has not taken the screen, but then it says match parent. So I'm going to just say wrap content. Okay, wrap the content with the width as well as height. It's still not visible to me because this linear layout takes the entire thing. Okay, and let me just click on these two controls and tell them to wrap the content. Okay, now you're able to see it. Okay, I think width, I'll just make it as match parent so that you'll see this. All right, so this now we are almost there, but it is all too close to each other. We'll fix that shortly. Okay, so linear layout is done. Then I want 4 frames, like 4 boxes here, like how I showed you yesterday for Geo's the data usage and the amount available, etc., etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another linear layout one after the other. Okay, so I'm going to put one linear layout here, in which I'm going to put 2 frames. Please note there is another one called frame layout. I'm going to just drag and drop one frame inside this linear layout. Okay, it will automatically take the entire screen which is available. I don't want that. Okay, I want the frame layout to hold only a number, isn't it? So I don't want a big width and height. Rather, I'll just say 150 dp. I'm manually putting the size. You can see that it will come like a small box there. Okay, this is one frame. That's all I want. Okay, this is what I want, so I'm going to just copy that, paste it below. Okay, and you get 2 frame layouts now. Okay, so I'll just choose both of them and I'll say 150 dp each, 150 dp as the height. All right, so 2 controls are available now inside one linear layout. You can see the blueprint here to see what are the controls are stacked up so far. Okay, next one is going to be again one more linear layout, horizontal. And inside that, I'm going to put another 2 frame layouts. So I'm going to just copy these 2 and paste it here. Okay, so I know that it is not following the width. So let me just fix that also. Width 150, height 150. Okay, and let me just change this also. This layout, wrap content, wrap content. Yes. Okay. So now make sure that it does all these layouts should be wrapping the content, because if you say match parent, it will take the entire screen. So now I think you are able to see the screen with all the controls. What I want is here, starting with one label, 2 text boxes, 4 buttons and 4 frame layouts, but they are too close to each other. So let's fix that now by just starting with these 3 controls, first 3 controls. Okay, and I'll give them, or I can just choose all of them inside this and I'll give a margin between them. Okay, a layout margin, let me just give nominal margin 10 dp so that they go a little bit far away from each other. I hope you can see that, right? So that is done. Then let me go to, I think the first one is fine. Let me just choose this linear layout, the one with buttons. Let me choose all the 4 buttons and give a margin for them, between them also. Okay, so they come like this. All right, so and then I'll change the text and all later. That is one. Then these frame layouts, actually they are in the left side. So if I choose the linear layout and first of all, let me just give a margin between these layouts. Okay, you can give 15 dp also because there's only 150 dp each. Okay, and also let me just choose the gravity, the layout gravity to be center. Okay, it doesn't make a difference for that because already it's there in the center. So I'll just remove this and let me click on the linear layout itself and say gravity center. Okay, that is done. Same thing, I'll go to this linear layout as well as and change it into center. Okay, now I'll choose these 2 frame layouts. Also give margin 15 dp. All right, now I think you are able to see the blueprint. Here you are not able to see it clearly because only when I move my mouse it shows the frames. But in the blueprint you can see very clearly one text box, one edit, one label, 2 text boxes, 4 buttons, 4 frame layouts. This is my design. Okay, so design is ready. Now let's appropriately name them. Let's start with the first one. I'm never going to use it in code, so I'm not going to ID it, but rather I'm going to put a layout so that, sorry, the gravity so that it comes in the middle. Okay, so that is done. Second thing, I'm going to remove the text which is already there as hello world. Okay, and I'll put fragment calculator title or lab record 5 or whatever you want to give it. Okay, that I leave it to you and just keep it as a little bit larger. So there is a fragment calculator. That's all. Then next, let me go to the first text box. Okay, so let me click on the first text box and please note not the layout. Okay, you can give the hint in the layout. Okay, if you want, but I would recommend you to keep only hint in the layout, nothing else. No ID required for the layout, but rather for the text is required. So hint, I'm going to say enter first number. That's all I'm going to give in the layout. Then if I click on edit text, it will tell what type. Okay, remove that word hint and input type. I'm going to say number. So I'm going to just choose number and click on apply. That's all. And I want to give an ID. So I'll just name it as ET first. Edit text, which will hold the first number. Okay, that is done. So that's all we have given as input. If you want, you can give what do you call, let's say, if you want, you can reduce the size of this control also. I think you know it by now. I'm not going to tell this. Okay, let me go to the second one. Text input layout here. It's already I've given this one, but I gave the hint on the text box. So I'll give it on the layout now. Here I'll say enter second number. And let me go to the edit text. Let me remove that hint from there. And input type only I'll give here number. Done. So I have two text boxes, and I think you can see that there's a gray color given for the control itself. If you don't want it, you can obviously remove that background color. Okay, so that I leave it to you guys. If you want, you can also change the background color of the input layout. Okay, so I can just choose both of them, and background color you can just make it as totally white, which means it becomes transparent like this. Okay, I leave it to you guys completely. You can change the color however you want it. Okay, so two text boxes now, both are looking like material design. Okay, so I will show you in working shortly. Let me just finish the buttons also. Let's choose one by one and give a name appropriately. Let's put the controls quickly. First button, I'm going to put BTN add. That's going to be the button to add. I'm going to put the text as add, or you can even put that symbol plus. Okay, I leave it to you guys. Okay, that's all. I think I don't want to give much more things. Second one, I'm going to put BTN sub. Okay, and let's also put the text as subtract. Okay, next one, I'm going to put BTN multiply. Okay, and I'll give the text as mul. Okay, you can even put symbols, guys. You don't need to put words alone. You can also put icons which will denote the same thing. Okay, I'll put BTN div, and text I'll just put it as div. So these are the four buttons which we need to put for that control. So when you click on these, I would like to add these numbers or do whatever operation you have asked for these numbers and display them in appropriate frames. So let's also name the frames properly. So first frame layout, I'm going to put it as FL add. Okay, why am I putting FL add is because it's a frame layout. FL add for add operation. Nothing else I'm going to put here. It's just an ID by which I'm going to call this layout. Second one is FL subtract. So I'll just put FL sub. Frame layout to subtract. Next frame layout, I'm going to put FL mul for multiply, and the last frame layout I'm going to put FL div. Alright, so design is done, guys. I hope it's clear. Alright, so all we have done here is we have put some controls. Okay, and the frames will not be visible in the design right now because they are just placeholders. You have to put something there to see that. But in the blueprint, you are able to see that there are 4 frames available. Okay, and none of them have data currently. All right, so let me just run this and show you how the design would come right now, and then we'll go for the code part. Okay, before I go to the code part, let me just quickly tell you what we are going to do. When you click on this add button, I am going to take these two numbers which are entered here and pass it to the fragment. The fragment should calculate and display it here in the frame. Okay, this much work is to be done. Okay, I know that it is silly to do it. You can do it in the same activity, But all I'm trying to do here is to explain how fragment works, not about calculator. Okay. So anyway, let me just show you here. Right now it says enter first number. Let me just tap on it. The label goes on top. Now I can enter a number. Okay. Then I say enter second number. I put 25. Okay. You can see right now I'm able to see what I've entered. I've entered first number, I've entered second number. Now I'm able to click on add, subtract, multiply, divide, etc. But nothing is happening and I'm not able to see any frames in the screen. Reason is because these frames are right now invisible. They have not been put yet. Okay, we will be doing that shortly. Okay, so let me go back to the code. Now let's go to the code part, guys. Okay, I hope till this you are clear and familiar with what is happening. All right, so let me go to the code part. Before I go to the code part, I want to tell you that I'm going to use the third method of attaching a listener. What is the third method? Creating your own method and attaching it in design. Okay, why am I doing that is because I don't want to give the code for listening complicated here, because I think that I've already demonstrated them enough in the previous classes. So this class, all I'm going to do is the third method. So first let me create a method. Okay, when you click on these two buttons, what should happen? So I'm going to call a method public. Let me just name it as do calculation, some name. Okay, it's totally up to you. Public void do calculation, and compulsorily you have to pass an object of view. Okay, this is the method signature. So if you follow this method signature, let me go back. Let me choose all the 4 buttons. Okay, I've already chosen all the 4 buttons. And I'll also go to and search for a property, a common property, an attribute called as onClick. And in that one, I should see the method which I just created. So let me just choose it. Now, any of these 4 buttons you click, this method will be automatically called. Okay, this method will be called. Now, in that one, how do you find which button was clicked? V dot get view ID. Okay, which one was clicked on? Okay, so you get that particular view's ID. So r dot id dot you can just find out btn add, btn sub, like that we can find out. Okay, so before that, let's get the work straight. When will I start working? Only when you click on that particular button. So as soon as you click on the button, I will come here. Okay, so first what I'm going to do here is I am going to create an object of 2 edit texts. Okay, so here please note, let me just show you what word. So far we'll be using the word edit text directly, but now I wanted to see the code, the XML code, and see what did you use. Okay, text input layout was what we saw, but edit text is not the word. Please note, it is a text input edit text. This is the full word. Okay, so in the beginning I dragged and dropped a normal edit text. That one, when you call it in code, you will just call the word edit text like this. But what I am using right now is not an edit text. It is a text input edit text. Be very careful. It comes from com.google. Okay, so it comes from a different thing, com.google.android.material, and in that one text field input text. Okay, so please be very careful of the word which is put here. Okay, so that is one. Now let me just go back and say, okay, so I'll just put first txt, second txt. Okay, that's all. I'm just creating 2 objects here. I hope this is clear. I'm creating 2 objects. Where will I instantiate them? On create, obviously. So I'm going to say first txt is equal to find view by id r.id.et first, number 1. Second txt is equal to find view by id r.id.et second. I didn't name it. Okay. All right. I think I didn't finish the naming. Is it? Yes, I didn't name this one. So let me just name it id et second. Okay, now it's fine. Let me go back and search for it. Et second. Yes, got it. So as soon as this particular layout or this particular activity is on created, which means as soon as it has been initialized, I will be very aware of these 2 text boxes which are there on the screen. Okay, so in case if you directly go and click on add, subtract, or any of these buttons, this method will be called. Now, guys, I'm not doing any validation so far. What do you mean by validation? Whether the user has entered something or not, that I have not done. Okay, that I leave it to you guys. Okay, because I don't want to waste time on it. Checking whether that text box already has text or not. We can easily do it by writing an if condition, or there are other libraries also. But I'm going to leave it to you guys to do the validation part. Okay, so what I am going to do is, taking these two numbers and giving it to a fragment. Okay, I'm not created a fragment yet. Please remember that. I'm going to create one shortly. Okay, so before I even create a fragment, okay, be very careful that as soon as a fragment has been created or called by your system, okay, that is secondary. As soon as you click on the button, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to get the numbers what you have entered first. Okay, then only I should call a fragment. So I'll only do the getting number part here. So because we are familiar with it, then I will go to the fragment part. Okay, so first let me create two double values because I don't want integers alone. We'll try double also. So double, I'll just say first underscore num is equal to, okay, I'll just say let's call that first txt dot get text dot toString. Same method as a normal edit text. Okay, but there will be a problem because you cannot store a text into a double, so wrap it using double dot value of. Okay, same like how you do integer dot parseInt. Okay, so second underscore num is equal to I'll just call second txt dot get text dot toString. Okay, it's not possible, so let me just wrap it. Done. So I've got two values. Okay, I've got the values, but which button did you click on? How will I find it? Where is the fragment? All those things we will write once we created a fragment. So let me just create a fragment, then come back to this code. Let me go to the project. Just like how you add another component like a service or a broadcast receiver. Okay, you can just right click on the app. Just like how we've been adding activities, just say new, look for below activity, you'll have fragment. Activity is the parent, fragment is like a child. So I'm going to go into fragment, okay, and choose the one which says blank fragment. I don't want to choose any other fragment. You can see all other examples of fragments. Login is a fragment, Google Maps as a fragment, list as a fragment, okay, scroll as a fragment, modal at bottom as a fragment. Like that, a lot of fragments are available. Even advertisements, okay, which come in the bottom of your when you're playing a game or when an ad based game is there, at the bottom there's a small thing coming. Okay, that's a fragment because it cannot be part of an activity. Because if I'm writing it as part of activity in my one app, I'll have so many activities. I can't keep writing that advertisement in each and every activity. Rather, I'll put that advertisement as a fragment so that I can reuse that same fragment in a lot of activities in your app. I hope you're getting the idea, right? So let me just click on blank because I want to create everything from the scratch. All right, so blank fragment, I'll just rename it as add fragment. Just like an activity, you see that a fragment also gets its name. Okay, fragment has a Java file, will also have an XML file, layout file, the code file. Okay, but look at the difference. Where I write main activity, I get activity underscore main. Like that, add fragment, fragment underscore add. Let me click on finish. Okay, some code will be automatically generated by your system. I'll remove all these things. Okay, I want to keep it as simple as possible. So in the meantime, let me come back to main activity while the Gradle is syncing. Okay, let me not waste time. Let me just write it here. How will you know which button was clicked on? Okay, we'll write a simple switch case. It's easier to write that way. v.getID. Okay, I just need to get the ID of the view which was clicked by which you came to this particular method. Okay, and I'm going to write some cases. Case r.id.btn, and if you have clicked on add, what am I supposed to do? Case r.id.btn sub, what am I supposed to do? Okay, like that you can write for everything till default. Okay, I'll write break and keep it. Okay, you can write add, subtract, multiply, divide, all the 4 buttons you can write. Okay, I am going to write only one so that you understand how it works. Then remaining 2 you can experiment with the same program. Okay, so I'm done with this. Let me go to the fragment. Okay, I'll come back to this program and change it later, but let me keep the fragment ready. Okay, please note this is the fragments design. This is the fragments code. Okay, don't get confused with the code because they have given a lot of things for you to understand and to work. I'm going to remove all those things. Okay, I'm going to remove all these except the required ones. Okay, I'm going to remove all these things. I'm going to keep only what is required. I'll remove all the methods. Okay. I'm only going to keep 2 methods which are compulsory to make a fragment work. Okay, I'm removing everything else. Just look at this, guys. Okay, there are a lot of code which is generated automatically when you create a blank fragment. Okay, I have removed all those things which are not required, and I have kept all which are important. What is compulsory to be there, I've kept it there. Okay, so required empty public constructor. This is required. You cannot override it. You cannot write anything else. That's why I'm leaving it as it is. The next one is on create. This is what will return the view, or which will show the, or which will inflate your fragment on the screen. Okay, this is why I'm keeping only these two methods. Okay, now let me go to the design first, then I'll come back to the code. Design, I am only going to keep one text, guys. Remember, the user is going to type two numbers and click on submit. I'm going to get those numbers here in this fragment and display it here as a label. That's all. Okay, but then please remember, it's going to be only one output. I want only one text view. And you can also see that it is also already engraved, or it's put inside, embedded inside frame layout. That's why I'm going to load this frame layout into my activity frame, this frame layout. Okay, I'm going to focus on the fragment coming to this particular frame. I hope you are getting the flow, right? So let me just click on this text view, and first of all, let me click on the frame layout itself and give a background color for it, and then I'll make this one come exactly in the middle. Okay, so first let me go to the text view. I'll remove the text which is there. Okay, and I will just let the text be there. Okay, why? Because I want to show how the text will look like. Okay, instead of a text, I'm going to put a number there shortly. So I'll just keep it here. Let me just name it. Okay, I'll just say this is a text view TV or LBL. Okay, I'm going to say LBL add result, a label which is going to hold the addition, the sum of two numbers result. Okay, and then here it says width is match parent, height is match parent. I'm going to just say wrap content. Now you see that is the control. I want that text to come exactly in the middle of my screen. So I'm going to click on the frame layout and choose the gravity. Okay, I'm going to say the layout gravity as center. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, I'm choosing the label and saying the center as the gravity. So it comes in the middle. Now I want that it's going to be only one number or two numbers it's going to be displaying. So I want the number to be as big as possible. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to choose this and go to the size of the text. Okay, you can just put a number to see how that number would pan out. Okay, let me just put 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, if this is the result, how will it look like? It will look so small here, no? So let me just fix it by keeping the color as black. Okay, first thing, size of that text size, I will rename it, or just give, or I can just choose text appearance here. I'll give a bigger size. Okay, that's enough. Okay, and one more thing I want to do is I want to make sure that this frame, or the entire frame, is in a different background color, so that when this frame is called there, you see that this is the frame which is getting fit there. Okay, so let me just search for background color. Okay, background. I'll just give a light, some background. Okay. All right. It's enough just to differentiate. That's all I've given. Okay, that's all. Design part is done. I've given a label. In the label, I've given a particular ID. That's all I've kept. Let me come back to add fragment and let's go to the code part of it. Okay, so before I go to the code part of the fragment, what is the fragment supposed to do? The fragment is supposed to add the numbers which is coming here. Okay, so let me go to the main activity and send the number to the fragment first. Okay, so how do I do that? All right, so normally when you call an intent, okay, intent was very simple. Just take the value, go to the next activity. It was very simple. But here you are not going to an activity. You are not going from one place to another. You are the activity is staying here. It is calling the fragment to come here. So you have to pass the values, right? So let's see how fragment receives values. Okay, look at the word. The fragment receives its values via first one, it's a layout inflator, so nothing to do with the data. Next one is view group, which is nothing but the container, nothing to do with data. The last one which says bundle. Okay, this is the keyword here. Okay, we send the data as a bundle. All right, so let me go back to main activity. Let me create that bundle. Now please note, whatever I'm writing above the switch case is common for all operations. Whether you're adding, subtracting, dividing, multiplying, doesn't matter. I need to get these two numbers, put it in a bundle and send it to the fragment. So which fragment to send, that only will change. Okay, putting it in a bundle is not going to be different. So I'm going to create bundle. Okay, so let me just name it as small letter bundle is equal to, let's create a new bundle. Okay, new bundle. And then I'll add the data to that bundle. So I'm going to say bundle dot put double because I have two double values. Okay, I'm going to give a particular keyword. I'm going to just keep it as short FNO, first number, and that will be this value. Okay, please note the one which I've typed in double quotes there is the key. Value is first number. Okay, so then put double. I'm going to put SNO, second number. I'll just call second number. Okay, a bundle is ready. Now what am I supposed to do? If you are listening to yesterday's class, I had shown you two keywords there. Okay, how do you handle fragments using a fragment manager? So I'm going to call something called fragment manager. Okay, please choose the one which says, okay, fragment manager, and let me just name it as short form of fragment manager or F manager, something like that. Okay, keep that and is equal to get support fragment manager. Okay, get the manager. Don't worry about this one. Okay, you're not going to instantiate a manager, but rather you're going to say get support. What do you mean by support? Okay, support is that reverse compatible version which is working with all versions of Android, even with the recent version and the old version. That's why we're getting get support manager. Second keyword yesterday what I discussed was fragment transaction. Okay, let me name it as transaction is equal to, from where will you start the transaction? With the help of fragment manager dot begin transaction. I've shown these two yesterday in the PPT, guys. Please do refer them. Okay, so transaction till this it is common. So whether you are going to add or subtract or divide or multiply, I need a fragment manager, I need a transaction to begin. Okay, with the help of transaction only, you'll be able to add a new fragment, remove a new fragment, and replace a fragment. I've told this also in yesterday's class. Check that. Okay, so now let me go back to fragment. I've not called the add fragment yet. Let me go back to add fragment. Okay, so here what I'm going to do in this particular part. Okay, in the add fragment, all we are going to do is we are going to get that value. Okay, and after getting the value, I'm going to add that and print it here. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to send it back. Okay, I'm only going to print it here in the fragment. That's all I'm going to do. But how will I get the value? Okay, first of all, you should notice that the first line inside this bracket, apart from the comment, the first line says return. Okay, so writing anything below this is useless. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I am going to make sure that the system does not return anything till I have finished my work. Okay, let me see what is the return type it is expecting. It is return, its return type which is expected is a view. So just look at what I'm doing, guys. Okay, I'm going to create view object. Let's say v is equal to this value. And I'm going to say return v. Look at what I've done. Why have I done this? Because I need the view. Okay, the view which is getting inflated through the fragment. Okay, it's for me to find the text box, etc., etc. Okay, so for that purpose, I need this view, v object. So if I return it in the first line itself, what will I work with? So I am dividing that line into two statements. Okay, and whatever I write in between will be able to access my view. This is the view. I'll be able to access it. That's what I'm trying to tell. Okay, so with that, let me go back to the design. Let me write the code. Okay, so let me first fetch the values which is coming from the user. Okay, so I'm going to say bundle. Let me name it as bundle itself. But I'm not creating a new bundle, but I'm getting the bundle. So I'm going to say get arguments. Whatever is passed to this fragment comes as a bundle. So I'm going to say bundle space whatever object. I'm going to just say get the arguments of this particular bundle. Okay, and then I'm going to get the values. I'm going to make that value once again. So I'm going to say double first number. Okay, or I'll just say first underscore num is equal to bundle dot get double. Okay, I need to pass the key. Remember the key what I passed there. Okay, the key which I passed there was FNO and SNO. I'm going to call the same thing here. Okay, I'm going to copy this, paste it below and write it as second num. Okay, and I'll put this as SNO. Done. Okay, how do I calculate the sum of this? I'm going to say double sum is equal to first number plus second number. That's it. Okay, so I've got the sum. Where will I print it? Where will I display this sum? I should print it or display it here in this label. Okay, so how will I get the label? It's very simple. I just need to call an object of text view, right? So I'll create a text view. Let me name it as result label, result LBL is equal to. Okay, normally I would just write find view by ID. Please note, it's not coming here. When I type find view by ID in a fragment, okay, it's not coming, but I type the same thing here in a activity, the same method is coming. Okay, the reason is because fragments cannot directly be attaching or calling their view. That is why I created an object here. Okay, with the help of that I can call. So I'll say v dot find view by ID and say r dot id dot tv or I think I put it as lbl add result. That's the label which I have put in the design. All I'm going to do right now is set the text. Okay, I'm going to say result label dot set text. Okay, please note I'm going to pass a double. All right, so you're not supposed to just pass a number and leave it as it is. So I'll just concatenate that with double quotes, open and close immediately so that it understands or assumes it as a text. That's all. My work here in the fragment is over. Okay, the fragments work is only this much. Get the value, add it, display it in that fragment. That's all. But the bigger problem comes in the activity. Let me go to the activity. Okay, I think the time is running out, guys. So I'll explain, write the code. I'll explain it a little bit detailed in tomorrow's class with the remaining fragments also I'll do. Okay, so let's look at the code, what I'm about to do. Okay, when you click on add button, what do you want me to do? Number one, I want you to just create a new fragment. Okay, by the way, add fragment is a class. I hope you can see that, right? Add fragment is a class. So if I want to call that fragment here, what do I need to do? Create an object. So I'm going to say add fragment. Okay, let me just name it as right now I'm going to just name it as current fragment, or I'll just say add fragment AF. Okay, I'll just put it as new. Okay, I'm purposely putting the word new because I'm going to create one more fragment. I'll tell you the reason. I'm going to create a new object of add fragment. That's all. Okay, it doesn't get over here. You have created a bundle. You have never passed it to the fragment. So I have to pass it to the add fragment now by calling that object and saying set arguments, because I'm going to get the arguments there. Okay, what am I supposed to set as argument? What type? Bundle. I have that. So I'm going to just pass that object. Done. Okay, with that it's not over. You will have to set the value there, isn't it? So how do I bring that fragment which you have created here? Okay, so by this line, by the way, please note, by this line what you have done, you have created a new object of this class and you have already set the arguments as whatever is taken from the user. So once you have set the arguments, what am I doing in this? As soon as this object has been created, it gets the arguments, adds it and displays it in its own fragment. All I need to do is call it here. Okay, and I want you to replace or add this particular fragment in the frame layout of my FL add. That's all. So how do I do that? Okay, so all I'm going to do is call the transaction and say add. Okay, I need to pass three parameters. Number one, where do you want me to add? I want you to add it in the frame layout. So I'm going to say r.id.fl. Which frame layout do you want to add it in? FL add. Second one, which fragment do you want to add? This fragments object, add fragment new. So this is the fragment's name. So I'm going to say add fragment new. Third one, okay, how do I identify? Please note the one which is highlighted there. How do I identify a fragment? By its tag. Okay, I'm going to give a tag called as add frag tag. Okay, this is just a word which I created so that I know that this is the add fragments tag. Okay, that's all. Okay, let me run the program now and check whether this works. Okay, it's not complete yet, guys. I'll complete it tomorrow. Okay, but today I've just done a fragment. I've called that fragment from one activity. And by the way, even though I have two Java files here, only one activity is going to run. But this fragment, which is running as a separate Java file, will still work and I'll still get my answer. Okay, so let me just check whether it works. Once the program runs, I'll check that, and then we'll stop for today. In tomorrow's class, I will be continuing this program. Okay, I'll complete at least one or two more of the fragments so that we get an idea of what is happening. Okay, that I'll do in the tomorrow's class. Let's see how this works now, what I've done. Okay. So this is the activity, guys. Okay, there is a frame here somewhere, but it is not visible yet because I've never called it. Okay, so I am adding the frame which I wanted. And one more thing I forgot to tell you, since it is a transaction, till you commit it, you won't get any answer. So after the switch case is done, obviously you should always write transaction dot commit. Do not forget this, very essential, guys. If you forget this, what happens? Whatever code I wrote before this, all are nullified. Okay, it's useless if I don't write this line transaction dot commit. It's just like typing everything in a notepad and clicking on don't save when it is asking whether you want to save or not. Okay, what happens? You lose the data. Same thing, it will happen here also. Okay, let me just see this. Okay, so the activity is running and I'm about to call a fragment to come and display it in this particular activity. So let me just write some number and let me click on add. Right, I hope you are able to see this. Okay, so what have I done? I've passed these two numbers. When you click on this button, I'm taking those two numbers and using the help of a fragment manager, I'm passing it to add fragment. What have I done in add fragment? I've got those arguments and I've added those two values using the fragment, and in the label of the fragment, I've displayed the result. Okay, and here what we are doing is using the transaction object, I'm adding that fragment to my current activity. So what you are seeing right now on the screen, okay, is one activity, and this part what you see is coming from a fragment. You know the color and whatever I gave, it comes from the fragment. Okay, that's all. Like this, I'm going to continue, and but there'll be a small change in the problem when I do this. Okay, I'll tell you how the problem comes when you go for more than one fragment, and I'll fix it in tomorrow's class. Okay, I hope you have understood it.